You've pushed your mounts to their limits, but the town gates are finally in sight. You've narrowly escaped with your lives once again, and the heavy sacks of gold jingle as your donkeys gallop into the stables of the inn. But before you can even dismount from your mighty steed, the rest of your party is already making plans to go back underground. "We need to split up and resupply if we're going to get back to the dungeon before it repopulates," says Bumblesnatch the halfling. And the thought of reliving the endless boredom of traversing 10-foot corridor after 10-foot corridor fills you with a bottomless emptiness. There has to be more than this endless cycle. There has to be something else to do than plodding through the monotony of meat grinder after meat grinder. And that's when you see her. Across the street, a withered, toothless harlot wearing a low-cut burlap frock is accosting a stranger. "Hey, sweetie, you want Camilla to give you something sweet?" she croons through her gummy muzzle. "Begone, you old bag!" the man cries as he backhands her into the gutter. "I'll give it to you cheap," she sputters as he walks away. "2 for 1 at the Shucked Oyster brothel." But 2 of what, you wonder? Your mind boggles with the possibilities. As the rest of your party begins arguing about the effective diameter of their fireball spell relative to the hypotenuse of room H71, your brain begins doing calculations of its own, as your feet begin to carry you away, following the siren song of this captivating offer. 2 of what? And for 1 of what? What does it all mean? You pay the idiot halfling Bumblesnatch no mind as he cries after you to restock the party's arrows and get a replacement 10-foot pole. For the riches of the dungeon cannot compete with the mysteries of flesh locked within, what was it? The Shucked Oyster. Before you know it, you've traversed the entire district, your mind awash in salacious visions. But the sound of breaking glass and the body of a man crashing through the shop window in front of you brings you back to reality. "Damn the despoiler! Nah, don't you help him. He'll put a stink on ye. Magda down at the Shucked Oyster ain't been clean for weeks because of this lot." Gods, yes, you think to yourself as you break into a sprint towards this house of carnal delights. The adrenaline that used to only come from battling monsters and raiding sunken temples is coursing through your veins once again. But how is this possible? You're in town. Town is boring and nothing ever happens here. And as you can feel yourself closing in on this nexus of sin, your heroic sprint spooks a nearby draft horse, but no, good lord, it's not a horse at all, but a scantily clad and buxom centaur lass hitched to a milk wagon with the words, "The Shucked Oyster," painted in bright crimson across its side. Startled, she careens down the boulevard straight into the gravedigger's corpse wagon. As a rain of bodies and dairy are strewn across the cobblestones, you hear the wailing of the peasantry as they curse this ill omen of chaos. But above the anguished cries of the poor townsfolk, the slurred curses of the local priest can be heard, bellowing out from across the square. "Those damn whores are at it again! Burn the brothel and salt the earth!" You can smell the gin on his breath all the way from across the street. Admiration for this holy man swells in your heart, but not for the reasons he thinks. You must have more. As you wade through the pasteurizing sea of corpses, you spot your destination. You're so close, you can't stop now. The Shucked Oyster stands directly before you in all its rancid glory. Lurching through the saloon doors, you breathlessly cry out, "I'm here for the 2 for 1 deal!" And the haggard madam, wreathed in cigar smoke, steps forward. 2 for 1, huh? Come with me. She takes you up 2 flights of stairs to a secluded room and says, "They're waiting for you." Your shaky hand reaches for the doorknob, but before you can even grasp the greasy brass handle, the door bursts open and the shrieks of the busty dwarf and leather-bound nun behind it pierce your eardrums. But what are they saying? Something about a fire? As you look inside, flames and smoke burst forth from the room, singeing your eyebrows and sending you hurling backward through the door behind you. As you land on your back, what you see makes no sense. Rolling on the ceiling in defiance of gravity or any laws of nature, a Nosferatu is strangling a foppish man in a powdered wig and a ruffled lace collar. 2 for 1. Of course. Now you understand. As the smoke chokes your lungs and sheets of flame spread through the doorway, you know you only have one way out. After years of adventuring and avoiding flame traps and slicing blades and roof cave-ins, you scramble to your feet and dive through the window, praying to any gods who will listen to break your fall. And broken your fall is. The anguished cries of the toothless prostitute you met from before gurgle beneath you as you come to on the street. 2 for 1, she sputters. You nod, meaningfully, having never felt a deeper connection to another human being in your life. You place a chipped penny in her dying hands, sending her off to the great beyond. As you stand to look upon the titanic building fire before you, the grating voice of Bumblesnatch the Halfling reaches your ears. Come on, we're all loaded up to go back to the dungeon! But your choice has been made. Nothing in the dungeon has ever made you feel as alive as you are right now. Nothing can ever substitute for the Shucked Oyster, our new module designed for use with ShadowDark RPG. Contained in this 200-page book, you'll find over 30 fully fleshed out NPCs with overlapping and conflicting motivations, all connected through a single location. The Shucked Oyster is a new carousing location and brothel that can be placed into any town or city in your ShadowDark or OSR-inspired campaign. With multitudes of adventure hooks and systems to generate creative chaos in your safe little town, you'll be able to make your downtime activities just as, if not more exciting and engaging, as your delves into the deep dungeons of the countryside. Check the links on screen and below to get notified for the launch of the Kickstarter for this glorious new supplement from Black Lodge Games. You'll get new random encounter tables, new magic items, 2 fully mapped 19-room dungeons, expanded lore for your campaign setting, mysteries to be solved, alternate carousing outcomes, and nearly 24 whores to constantly harass and harangue your players when they come back with sacks full of gold. Don't let your town be boring. Elevate your game and burn down the Shucked Oyster.